All right, let's dive into Apple's 2025 playbook. And it's really a story of extremes. We're talking absolutely absurd power, some really radical new designs, and yeah, some brand new problems that come along with them. So today, we're going to break down what's new, what's powerful, and what this all signals about a pretty massive shift in Apple's entire strategy.
So let's just start with the biggest question of all. What if this design that everyone is arguing about, the most controversial choice Apple has made in years, what if it's actually their most brilliant move yet? Let's find out.
First up, you just can't ignore the look. I mean, Apple has gone in two completely opposite directions this year, pushing the boundaries of what it means to be both bold and impossibly thin.
Okay, check this out. That camera bump we all know, tucked in the corner of the iPhone 16 Pro, it's gone. On the 17 Pro, it's been replaced by what they're calling the plateau. It's this massive, full-width bar that completely redefines the entire look of the phone. Now, you're either going to love this or hate it. There's probably no in between. But here's the thing. It actually allows for a bigger battery and way better cooling.
And then you have the complete opposite end of the spectrum. While the Pro got bolder, Apple also gave us the iPhone Air. At just 5.6 millimeters, I mean, that is ridiculously thin. But here's the kicker. It's not fragile. They put it through this wild bend test with 130 pounds of pressure, and it just snapped right back into place. So it feels incredibly light, but it's also surprisingly tough.
So the new designs are one thing. But honestly, what's going on under the hood is maybe even more dramatic. We're seeing huge upgrades in both raw performance and battery life. So you might be wondering, how are they managing all this power? Well, for the very first time, the iPhone Pro models have a vapor chamber cooling system. In simple terms, think of it as a super efficient way to pull heat away from the chip. This is a direct shot at all those complaints about overheating in the past, and it lets that new chip run faster for way longer.
And the result of that cooling? An absolute monster of a chip. The A19 Pro gives us a 20% jump in multi-core performance over last year's A18, which was already super fast. But maybe more importantly, look at this. It's going toe-to-toe with the top-of-the-line Galaxy S25 Ultra, putting Apple right back on top of the performance charts.
Now, let's talk about stamina, because this is what everyone is going to be talking about. Are you ready? 17 hours and 54 minutes. That is the battery life on the new iPhone 17 Pro Max. And just to put that into perspective for you, this is not a small improvement. It absolutely blows away its predecessor by more than 3.5 hours, and it just crushes its main rival, the Galaxy S25 Ultra. This is, hands down, the longest-lasting iPhone ever tested. Period.
Okay, so we've got these wild new designs, we've got record-smashing performance, but what's the big picture here? What is Apple really up to? Well, it looks like they are very intentionally blurring the lines between their products.
And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? When you have this much power sitting in your pocket, what really is the difference between your devices anymore? Is Apple pushing us to a future where those lines just don't exist at all? And hey, this trend isn't just with the iPhone. Take a look at the MacBooks. The new M4 MacBook Air is now less than 2% slower than the entry-level M4 Pro. For most people, that tiny gap is, well, it's meaningless. The real differences now are things like the better screen and the extra ports, which means the Air is a totally legit pro machine for a whole lot of people. And the ultimate mashup might be just over the horizon. The very respected analyst Ming-Chi Kuo is reporting that Apple is already working on a touchscreen MacBook, and it could get here as early as 2027. I mean, if that happens, the line between a MacBook and an iPad could just vanish. But of course, let's be real, not everything in Apple's 2025 playbook has been a home run. When you make big changes, you have to make big compromises, and this year's lineup definitely has its share of controversy. So, that incredible thinness of the iPhone Air? Well, it comes at a cost. To pull it off, Apple had to make a pretty major cut, one that The Verge calls a real concession. The Air only has a single camera on the back. That means no ultra-wide, no telephoto lens, which are standard on basically every other premium phone out there. And then there's the software. Yikes. iOS 26 has not had a smooth rollout. People are really divided on this new liquid glass design. And get this, some people are reporting that the new dark mode is actually causing dizziness and eye strain. On top of that, you've got complaints about a wonky keyboard, bugs on older iPhones, and this general feeling that Apple is still playing catch-up when it comes to truly innovative AI.
So let's zoom out and try to put all the pieces together. What does this tell us about Apple's next chapter? Well, it really looks like a two-part strategy.
On one hand, Apple is just doubling down on its core products, packing them with so much performance, it's almost ridiculous. We're talking more power than most of us will ever know what to do with.
And then, at the very same time, they're taking these calculated risks on the design itself, pushing engineering to its absolute limits with devices like that impossibly thin iPhone Air.
And when you look at it that way, the ultimate goal becomes crystal clear. By mashing up pro-level power with these boundary-pushing designs, Apple is actively trying to erase the lines between our devices. The phone, the tablet, the laptop, they're all starting to merge into one thing. Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. With all these trends, what will your main computer actually look like in just 3 years? Will it even be a computer as we think of it today? Because that's the future Apple is trying to build right now.